I feel like doing a very spiritual talk right now, which is not really based on anything that's in the news, like one of the trending topics. Although, to get more views from new people, I'm going to have to attach it to something. So, we're just going to talk about the NSA and the surveillance and the privacy as a segue into what I want to say. Okay? Just to be honest and transparent with you and how I produce my channel here. There's a lot of concern, and over last weekend on Saturday, there was a major global movement, a activist event against any spying, and they're really pro-privacy and for respect of individual rights. A lot of news is coming out related to this, even from other governments complaining about the United States and their NSA and their spying. For example, last week, details are coming out that the head of Germany, Merkel, is her name. She's a female politician or head of state. In fact, I don't remember her first name offhand, but she's been spied on for about 20 years. Even her personal calls from her personal phone when she's not at the office and such. I guess they were spying on her even before she got elected to office. I'm not sure what she was doing before she got the top position as a German, I think it's called Chancellor. Forgive me, I'm mostly familiar with the World War II history of Germany, and I've had a lot of German friends around my own age or younger, but as far as the politics, anyhow, this is not a quiz or trivia test on me. What I'm saying is that there's so many examples coming forward, from Edward Snowden to the investigative journalism of Michael Hastings, and of course the big WikiLeaks saga that's ongoing. So whether or not some or all of this is just false flagging and kind of the twisted brainwashing that some of these nations or powerful ruling elite entities are doing, it still makes you sit back and wonder, what is going on. I just say 99% of the time the answer, or the majority of the answer you're looking for, can be satisfied with one bottom line conclusion. And as I say, I can use this 99% of the time. It's all about the money. Somebody's making money on it. Okay? So that I have felt over all of my time of looking at the world and wondering why these things are going on, why people talk about it, what's the controversy. It's always somebody's making money on it. That is the only singular answer that's always accurate, even though it's generalistic. But I think it is not so general, because there are many other conclusions that you could make that are general. You could say, it's because people are obsessed with sex. Or you could say, it's because of racism, the competition of that. Or, you could have all these other knee-jerk answers to the mysterious questions of our civilization. But I think it always boils down to the money. People are driven by the money. Groups of people, organizations, nations, corporations, factions, shadowy powers, oligarchy, plutarchies especially, conspiracies are always about the money. And money precipitates power. And it's not just the power first. Because I think that there is no power without money in this world. So that's kind of a bold statement to make, but you'll have to analyze my statements on a lot of videos if you really want to argue that. And but if you want to be convinced, I have a lot of explanations towards this. Many playlists also that you can check out. I firmly believe it. I believe that money is not a tool. Money's just not in the league with other things, other technology, other possessions. It's just not. Money is in its own league. I believe it's a demonic force. I believe it knows that, but its only defense against an enemy such as myself is just to get me to want it anyhow. Even though it knows that some people are reluctant to have it, or reluctant to seek it, or desire it, or lust after it, it still keeps on this relentless, continuous magnetism to take over your mind. That's really its main attack, or main weapon, or main strength, or it's just this demonic thing that no matter where you turn, it kind of assumes it's going to win because it has everybody locked in to its claws, its grasp. Money is ruling the world. The more money concentration, the more higher awareness or higher connection, dependency on money, the higher and the more quantity level of intensity is really driving things to happen around the world. Okay? So let's go back to my original premise about the spying and the privacy. They're trying to find out how they can make the money and control the money. That's basically what they're doing. It's the other things are supplementary towards that. So having said it, it's a general statement, and you have to pick it apart for every possible instance. You get specific for, whether you're talking about the United States doing their spying, or the Soviet era, or the Russians of today still do spying, the Chinese do spying, so on and so forth. They're all doing spying. Even in the last couple of years, Rupert Murdoch of the News Corp was doing spying. They were listening into British officials, and wasn't he listening into the police and someone? He was busting into their answering machine even after the person was dead. So this was unethical and got a real emotional backlash against it. Now, like I said, this is not just governments, this is not just military departments, this is corporations also, because it's all about the money. Now, I always characterize myself as being separate from most of the other personalities out there, whether it's religious, spiritual, political, or cultural, what have you, artists, even though I can easily pass as an artist. But yet, I'm not all about the money. I want the money, just like anyone else does. But I have a whole plan for the money. And I really can't detail all my plans because it's kind of a proprietary formula, and therefore I have to keep it confidential. But I can tell you one main thing that I've decided is going to make me unique and a pioneer, is that no matter what, when I get extra money, and really in the long run, my future Everything is extra money, every penny. And that extra money will be used to convert it into resources that are sustainable. That means any supplies or creating a system that are resources that can perpetuate itself. Therefore, the money does not depend on more money flow. It just is what it is. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not about just creating yourself a dependency on money to keep coming in, to keep it going. It's actually canceling money out of the loop once you get it situated. So very few people do things that way. Very few people put in all the effort to study it and figure out how to do that. Now, why did I say I was going to do a spiritual video and all I'm doing is talking about this, privacy and money, and I haven't really explained how I think about the privacy thing and why is it spiritual. So I'm going to leave you with these kind of separate building blocks of my message and my life and what my projects are, people working with me, and such as yourself also. You're really working with me because you're listening and you're taking it in and you're understanding something within your own perspective, and that all the energy is connected. All of our thoughts are connected. So hopefully you're working with me, because it's very hard for you to keep these ideas in your head and not work with it. You would just, if a person was against it, they would just reject it out of their head, and they wouldn't keep following the videos. So I have to presume, just by logic and the force of my ideas in the videos, that you are working with me. The more that you watch, the more that you listen, the more that you comment, the more that you rate them, favorite the videos, and share it with all your friends. It is actually one of the main projects that I'm doing, to put that vibe out there, that mental vibration into the world. And that's really why I'm here on YouTube. But the spiritual side of things is that I want to tell you the civilization that we're all a part of, our world overall, has certain major flaws in it that need to be dealt with in order for us to make progress. We're all looking for the future to come, and the only future that we're going to have is when we recognize that something has changed and transformed, and that's what I generally term as improvement. You could also look at it as evolution, so that if you start doing things better, even yourself, and you link up, like you join yourself with these great things that are happening, then you have evolved also. And all of us together, collectively, are going to be evolving and getting to this higher state, a better state, an improved world. So that would be the future. Once we recognize and we look around, we say, wow, things are really different. This is not 1990 anymore. This is not 1975. It's not 1956. Take your pick of the years of the past and you say, this is really different. And not only, we don't have like more complex problems, we've actually sorted it out. We're starting to sort it out and get an order to it. It's starting to be like closer and closer to paradise. When we can say that, like I do with my life and what's around me, it's, wow, I've really come a long way. It's taking its time. It's very gradual, but you have to keep with it. And then you see people inching along. They are definitely getting there. If you have this long-range focus, you have to have a long attention span. And you say, we're really getting to this future. Things that we're putting behind us, it's the past, and we don't want to repeat it. That's really ending. And something new is beginning. Something is being born. Something is rising out from those ashes. I can say that. The reason why I can rattle this off the top of my head is because that's what I really see going on. This is what I've been striving to do with my presence here on the planet. So I have a destiny that, I had to grab hold to. Some people don't. Maybe you haven't found that for yourself. You say, well, I don't know really what I'm doing. I don't know my purpose. I just know the things that bother me, and I see these things, and I try to learn about them, and, I'm doing something with my life, but I'm kind of like separate, although, these are the songs that I listen to, this genre, and these are the things I read. And you get these connections, these links that you're making, and my channel might be one of them, and you're saying, yeah, I feel like I'm a part of that, I can agree to that. So you're starting to know that your destiny is tied in. But let me tell you something. The destiny that I have is to be at the core, getting things going, starting it up with a collective group that has a destiny. So if you relate to me, I'm a guy who knows my destiny, and I believe in it. And it's a group destiny, so therefore you already have a head start into your destiny just by linking up with me. If you never knew you had a destiny. I believe that destiny, as the definition says, is predestined. That there was a purpose to it. Call it God-given. I don't like the word God, but Creator-given from your Maker, the one that sent you. I like that phrase a lot better. The one that sent me here already gave me the blueprint and said, I have to live this out. I have to work myself through it. It's inevitable. It's inalienable, like they say in some of the government documents. You can't take this away from me. It can't change. I can't be any other way. So it's like I'm elect. If you look into the biblical scripture and you look for that term in the concordance and you try to see it within context of what does that mean? Who are the elect? The elect cannot be swayed. The elect are created for that purpose. So if you look around and you say, what about this Bible, this Christian thing, and they're supposed to believe in it, and I just see hypocrisy. But all you have to look is not much farther than right here. You look at yours truly. You look at the videos and say, you know what? If I just for a moment try to interpret all this, but I use this as the elect, then I might have a standard. I might have a starting point to understand things. So I'm telling you right now, and I don't have any reason to hide it. It's the life that I live. I have to broadcast it out there. This right here, this life, this talk, this force in the world that was sent here is the elect. The elect. We can't be any other way. We have to see our position in it and maintain, no matter what happens outside of ourselves, any kind of thing that is misunderstood out there, people that go whichever way the wind blows, they don't know what they believe, they waffle, they flip-flop, even on major issues. That's not what the elect are about. The elect are about being what they are, and they believe in it. And its destiny. Now, what am I talking about spiritually here when I said that there's a lot of things in the world that need to change and we need to transform in order for us to move ahead into this future, the prophesied future, which we came here for? There's no doomsday for us. There's a doomsday for the system that needs to drop and fall apart, that needs to just get out of the way. There's a doomsday for that. But there's a day of glory that we're coming to, a promised land. And it's right here. It's like at the tip of your tongue, like the statement says, heaven is at hand. What does it mean, heaven's at hand? I thought we have to die and it's so far away and you got to do... No, actually you don't. It doesn't say that. And I don't say that. I don't believe it that way. I'm going to live and see it. Even if I've got to transform somehow, but it's going to be a continuous consciousness. What I am right now is in this state of awareness and enlightenment, as Buddha said. when you're enlightened? What do? What happens? What does the Zen master say? Well, before that, I chopped wood and I carried water. Now that I'm enlightened, what's different? Well, I chop wood and I carry water. So the outward form in a lot of this is with your body, it's all just going to be the same. You're just going to be able to perpetuate it. Then there's a lot of things, though, in the mind, the sharper awareness and the togetherness of how we work together. Maybe we all get together and chop wood and all of us carry water, for some big unified ritual ceremony, like togetherness, what our civilization will be. Now, on the thing, let me rewind to the beginning of the video to where it's about privacy. Why are we worried about that? To me, I have nothing to worry about. Because, first of all, if they want to record me, let them record me. Okay? I'll be glad to get my hands on those records later on and watch myself or show that to my kids or listen to that phone call. Oh, the phone call on May 4th, such and such a year. Oh, yeah, remember when I said that? Yeah, maybe I was a little bit angry. Ha, 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 ha. I look back on it now. Or maybe I said this about this leader. Who cares? What? What are they possibly going to do with that? I don't have any concerns or worries. All I know is that it's all going to fall into my hands. And yours, if you're working with me in the future system. So, while I say more power to them if they want to protest it, or if they want to be these little people in there now going through these motions like ants or whatever with their database and their facility in Utah and that big military base they got in Maryland and so on and so forth, and all their bunkers, the DUMBs, deep underground military bases that start in Virginia and then go across, and there's one from Colorado under Denver, and they got a whole network. Whatever. And the different things they have on the other continents. These people are just working for me, for my future. I don't have anything to worry about it. It's just that right now, I don't need to be the one literally in charge, like they're calling Obama in charge. I don't have to do that right now. It's not time for that. I'm not resting on my laurels right now. I'm getting certain things right with myself, like to be righteous. There's certain things that we need to do. And while you can see it as, oh, it's these people doing this, but you can't go that other step further and say, oh my God, and get paranoid and just worry about stopping it. It doesn't need to be stopped. It's just like saying, well, we need to stop the internet. We need to stop Google. No, these are just resources. These are just going to be intellectual, databases as a record of the past history. That's what its value is, so that we can study it. We might not dive in and analyze it right away, but eventually we will. Our descendants are going to need to do that somewhere way, way down the line, because they're going to be like, hey, the world has evolved so much. What was it really like back at the beginning of the 21st century, as they call it? 2012 and 2013. So, I guess that's my spiritual talk for today. I could have done a little bit better. I think at some point I'd like to be interviewed. I'd like to have discussions with like-minded people. Would just open up the whole can of worms of civilization and really just point out what the things are. Like I said, there's a lot of things that need to be transformed or transcended. One of them is about the money. That's really the main one, because I find that everything that goes on seems to be about that, and that's the main thing. That's the main problem, the main stumbling block. But somebody has to break through first to the other side, and nobody has yet. I've been looking around, and I really don't have any time to keep searching and trying to have somebody else doing it. I'm doing it myself. So if you don't find anything else and you're not doing it, just stay tuned here. I'm going to humble myself. I'm going to get away from the money. I'm going to put myself down to, the ground level of existence, and raise up from there with all my memories, all the skills, everything intact, myself intact. But I'm going to start from like the womb of having nothing, like zero in my account, and just build up from there, but build it up organically, like a natural futuristic system, almost like, the Garden of Eden or something, something proverbial like that. Like an eco-sustainable thing, but don't worry, it's not like I'm not being manipulated by anyone or anything. I fight against those because I know what I know. Like I said, I'm the elect, and that's what it's all about. So, thanks for listening to my rambling, and I look forward to all your feedback. Even on some of these other, news stories, I'm getting really good feedback. There's everyone showing, how wise they are, hip to the groove, not taken in by all this kind of stuff, and seeing it from a higher level. So I really appreciate that. I still have an increasing amount of hope for everything that's going on through this crazy flawed website. Make sure you comment, send this to all your friends, favorite it, and make sure you're subscribed, because YouTube might have unsubscribed you by mistake.